There is a moment in every investigation when things are still open, when answers haven't hardened yet, when facts are allowed to compete instead of obey. This case never reached that moment. It was closed quickly, confidently, and cleanly. So clean that almost no one noticed something essential never happened. The right question was never asked. From the outside, the case looks complete, timeline established, cause determined, statements collected. The language used in the report is calm, definitive, and final. Words like confirmed, consistent, and no further action required appear early. That's unusual. Those words normally come at the end, after doubt has been exhausted. Here, they appear before doubt is even documented. What most people don't realize is that investigations don't just discover answers. They also choose which questions deserve oxygen. And once a case decides what it is about, everything else becomes noise. In this file, that decision happens faster than it should. Almost immediately. The case is framed around a single assumption. Everything that follows is filtered through it. There is a small section in the file where alternative explanations are listed, not explored. Just listed, each one dismissed in a sentence or less. No supporting analysis, no testing, no explanation of why they were ruled out. The presence of that section is meant to signal thoroughness and reality. It signals something else. It shows that the alternatives were never allowed to breathe. Here's the detail that matters. The central question of the case is never explicitly written down. It's implied. Everyone involved seems to agree on it without stating it. That's dangerous. Because when a question is implied instead of stated, it can't be challenged. You can't argue against something that was never formally asked. At one point, a witness provides information that doesn't fit the assumed narrative. The statement isn't contradicted. It isn't disproven. It's simply categorized as non-impactful. That phrase appears again and again in the file. Non-impactful doesn't mean false. It means inconvenient. It means it doesn't help move the case toward the conclusion that has already been selected. This is how cases close themselves, not through lies, but through momentum. Once enough pieces point in the same direction, stopping to question the direction feels unnecessary. Slowing down feels inefficient, and efficiency becomes more important than accuracy, especially when the case appears straightforward. Another overlooked detail is timing. Several decisions are made before key information is fully processed. Reports are written before reviews are completed. Conclusions are drafted while evidence is still pending. That sequence matters, because once language is written down, it starts to feel real, permanent. Reversible decisions become emotionally expensive to undo. People often imagine that wrongful conclusions come from bad actors. In reality, they often come from good actors moving too fast, from systems designed to resolve rather than to reflect, from structures that reward closure more than curiosity. This case didn't collapse under scrutiny. It avoided scrutiny altogether. By the time the case is officially closed, reopening it would require admitting that the original question was flawed. Not that the answer was wrong, but that the investigation asked the wrong thing. And that's a much harder admission to make. So the case remains closed, not because it was solved, but because it was framed. If you take one thing from this file, let it be this. Always ask what question an investigation is built around, because the answer can only be as good as the question allows. When the question is narrow, the truth doesn't disappear. It just gets excluded. This case was closed before anyone asked the right question. And once it happened, everything that followed was inevitable. This was File 004.